to make change in our communities, because that's a lot of how we've got things done in St. Paul. We come together as residents here who care a lot about our communities and make these decisions together. And I'm really excited for what the future is going to bring.
Right. Yes, I would welcome the advisory committee. I know Minneapolis had to go through a lot to get to that point, and it would have to take the city council battling out with a large corporation that doesn't want an advisory council. And this advisory council should include youth, it should include trade union leaders, it should include residents, it should include local Dakota, it should include recent immigrants, and it should include faith leaders. So it should be a very diverse committee that will be speaking for all of St. Paul and not just the selected committee by the elected officials. And it has to be very diverse to make sure that everybody's voice is heard before we sign another 5-year contract with Excel and they get to choose what they want to do for our city.
And now we're just going to have a couple of minutes for Mike Yee, who's going to discuss ranked choice voting with us.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mai Yee, and I am a community organizer with Fair Vote Minnesota. So Fair Vote Minnesota is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization, and their mission is to reform the electoral system, and they advocate for ranked choice voting. So raise your hand if you know about ranked choice voting. That's great. So as you may know, this city council race is a ranked choice voting one. That means you get to rank all of these candidates in the order that you like them the best. If your first choice doesn't have enough votes to go on, your vote will transfer to your second choice. Your second or third choice never harms your first, and ranking the same candidate multiple times does not help them. So it always maximizes your voice and power to rank your ballot. So today, after listening to these candidates and hearing where they stand on energy democracy, you listen to them, not only who your favorite may be, but how you might like to rank them. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll be at the end of the table over there. I also have forms if you're interested in voting by mail. If you're not registered to vote, I also have registration forms there as well. And I have information about ranked choice voting if you want to learn more about it. So thank you so much.
Okay, we're going to close this evening's forum. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to be closing it with a closing statement from the candidates. All of the candidates now will have 2 minutes to make a closing statement. As they choose. Since in inclusion, we will invite the person who joined us. Yes, Greg. I didn't catch his name, so thank you. We'll be asking Greg Copeland also to make his candidate statement to close the evening. Thank you. And we'll start you on right. Kicking it off again? No. I'll try not to fumble.
No, I kick a lot of stuff off.
Yeah.
First stated, my name is Alexander Bourne, and I'm running for city council right here in the community that I grew up in. Okay, and my goals for the city council is pretty simple. We're going to implement and embrace policies that adequately reflect who we are as a community and abolish those that do not. That being said, I look forward to hearing from you. My personal cell phone number is 612-458-2353. Feel free to give me a call. This is my full-time job trying to get elected. I took a year to make sure that I can hear all voices, as many as possible, take those voices, build a consensus, turn it into a platform, just as we've done. Just a kid from the east side, looking to make this community a lot more better, safer, more equitable. It's exciting to be here with y'all tonight. Thank y'all. Give yourselves a hand. I really appreciate the level of diversity here tonight. I was very shocked to hear that you all actually went out door knocking, trying to get people involved. Thank you for that. I met a new couple from Colorado. This is going to be their first time participating in our local electoral process that can ever seemingly be complex. And just know that you have an individual here to help you navigate this process. Thank y'all.
Thank you. While the City of St. Paul Climate Action and Resilience Plans is a bold plan that addresses transit, building efficiencies, and equity, its formation and implementation is very connected to the very close relationship and partnership with Xcel Energy. This only allows Xcel Energy to police itself, and there is no oversight by the community. Having only Xcel Energy having full control of this plan leaves out the stakeholders like the youth, trade union leaders, residents, local Dakota, recent immigrants, educators, health professionals, and faith leaders. Since we will be going into negotiation with Xcel next year about its contract, I will make a proposal for a community-driven committee that will be funded from the proceeds of the Xcel contract that will oversee the CAR plan. In the proposal, I will also include a full-time hired staff that will be will be the lead organizer for this committee. If Xcel does not like this plan, I will also add to the upcoming negotiation to have municipal solar and wind power co-ops, which are run by the residents that use the energy. I have 2 children, and one on the way in 2 weeks from now. And I care about their future, and I don't want to leave them with a world that they can live in. And that's why I'm running for office. I'm willing to ask inconvenient questions and fight for the community's benefits. I am not a rubber stamp. Thank you.
First, I want to thank Minnesota 350 for hosting tonight's forum and the opportunity to engage and share with all of you my experience, my vision, and my platform for Ward 6. Again, someone who grew up here in St. Paul, I'm also raising a family here too in the neighborhood. And so I want this to be a neighborhood where not my children, but my grandchildren and future generations come back to and raise their families. Climate change is real, but I know that our greatest power to impact this is here at the local level. I know there are already amazing people in the community, such as the Lower Phelan Creek Project, Urban Roots, ESNDC, Minnesota 350, and a whole host of other folks who are already collectively trying to figure this out. I also see when I'm out door knocking, I see people who are creating bee habitats, growing native plants and species. I see signs for residents who are water stewards and people enjoying our parks and green spaces. I see community gardens that our elders are growing food for themselves and their families. So I get really excited because I know individually we're taking this upon ourselves. When I meet other Ward 6 residents, our vision and the things we want isn't a whole lot different, even though we may come from many different backgrounds and speak different languages. We want a safe, affordable roof over our heads. We want to live in safe neighborhoods. We want to have dignified work and provide for our families. And we want to have nice access to public amenities. So it's not too far off for what we want to see. But I really can't wait to make sure that the East Side is going to be a wonderful neighborhood for all of us to thrive. My campaign has really been about opportunity and potential. And as someone who's been doing this work for a long time in the community, behind the scenes, I want to be at the forefront because we need someone who's going to be a champion down at City Hall for us. I look forward to creating a better East Side together with all of you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nelsie. It's been such a pleasure being here. Just wanted to share a bit about my identity background as well, since we actually didn't get a chance to do that during introductions. I'm a Hmong daughter of refugees. I'm a renter here in the East Side. I'm also an organizer and union steward at Take Action Minnesota. And I want to share that I'm running for city council to make sure that we have a bold progressive voice representing our ward. There's a lot that's going to be coming our way. There's a lot in terms of climate disasters that will be coming our way. There's a lot that's going to be, when I think about the $15 minimum wage and making sure that people have housing all across income and family size, these are actually the deep systemic issues that we're going to be faced with, and we need somebody who is really going to fight to make sure that our public dollars are actually funding these. And that's like no exceptions at all. I've been screening with teachers, screening with so many labor organizations, and the reason why my campaign is the only one that's labor and teacher endorsed is because they see that, you know what, like, we need people who are clear about why we need fully funded schools. We need people who are clear about corporate accountability. We need people who are clear about where we want to be in climate many, many years from now. And like the work that we do, who we put into office this year is actually going to be, determine like whether or not we're on track to do that. And so that's something that I'm really, really passionate about, and I wanted to share that with you because like I always say, I can't do this work alone, because that's actually really true. It takes people coming together for us to make these systemic changes, and there are people in the east side here who have actually really cared about these issues and want someone who want to partner in city council. We also need a city council member who is actually brave, going out there, organizing, asking hard questions in city council and ensuring that they're engaging people. And that's something that I care deeply about. And so if you also care deeply about this as well, then I ask for your support. Come out to vote and support Nelsie as your first choice for city council, because the bottom line is that our council, they manage such a big budget, and we need to make sure that that budget really reflects our values.
It's been a pleasure listening to the candidates tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity to give you 2 minutes. I think the last thing we need, when you look at this map, folks, about the east side and the fact that we are the most challenged area in the city in terms of our climate future, the last thing we need to do is tear down the trees on the Bruce Bento Trail and put it in a $400 million bus road. That's the last thing we need. I take the bus all the time, and I can get to St. John's Hospital. I can get to White Bear Lake if I need to. And the state of Minnesota just spent millions of dollars building a mid-pass lane that goes from downtown right to White Bear Lake. And you know what? You can get up and down there in about 12 minutes. We don't need $400 million spent on that. The other thing, we've been talking a lot about poverty. What are we prepared to do for the poor? Right now, what is the city doing? The city brings in about $27 million a year in franchise fees. Franchise fees they tack onto your electric bill. Why are we charging low-income people that can barely afford to pay their bills those franchise fees? We could cut $100 at least off of every low-income person's bill by changing the way we do business. If we're interested in helping people directly, that's something we can do right away. The other thing I would say too is we have, I think it's in the neighborhood of 12,000 connections in the city with lead pipes going into people's homes. The city's charging $18 a year on your water bill for a right-of-way charge. And they're not spending the money on anything on the right-of-way. I think what we ought to do is take that $18 and use it to pay down some bonds to take care of this lead problem. We don't need a Flint. We don't need a Newark in St. Paul. We need to take responsibility for these details. We have a lot of poor people, yes, and I hope they all come out to vote. But in case they don't, some of you ought to have a conscience to do some voting for them. Because you know what? It's your community and theirs, and unless we work together on it, we're not going to get anywhere. So, thank you very much. I've been living here as a homeowner on the east side of Payne Avenue for 28 years.
So again, I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It was raining, pouring, and we thought maybe just be a handful. So thank you so much. Please vote Tuesday, November 5th.